Hello and welcome. I'm Mike and I'm the Scrutineer here for SimNews.TV. This is our very first show, and this show is going to be all about GPVWC and the Super League campaign for 2017. We'll be coming to you every 2 weeks on the eve of the next race, telling you everything that has happened in the build-up to the race, all the background detail of everything that you're going to see on track. GPVWC Super League is as real as it gets. So this isn't just a standard, all your cars are the same, everybody goes out on track and it's the best driver. This is a real team game. Everything is done down to the T, so all the cars are not equal. All the teams develop their own cars. They all develop in slightly different directions, which means on certain tracks, certain teams will have a different advantage over others. Really like you would find in real Formula 1 or any sort of formula like that where you don't have even cars. This makes it such a great spectacle, because you never know on a given day who's going to quite win. You never quite know it. No one runs away with it. It's really close championship. Last year we had 7 different teams, all winning races. There's low down as finishing like 6th or 7th in the championship, still win races. On their day, anyone can do it. And this show is all about showing you how that happens and explain it so you can see a bit more when you actually watch the races on a Thursday. At the moment, we're in pre-season, so we don't. The races don't actually start until March. We have got pre-season tests coming up, which we will talk about more in show 2. That's where cars can start being developed and upgraded. In this show, however, we're just going to give you a bit of background to what has gone on and what's going on over the next few weeks. So at the moment, teams have been through what we call a bidding process. So for the first couple of weeks of January, teams have bid and hired staff and a few other different bids, sponsors, bits and pieces that I will go into. All this makes a difference into your car and your team and the way it's run and your financials. Yes, there's in-house financials as well. This all impacts on how much you can spend. Every set of tyres costs. Every upgrade costs a lot. You have to pay for your engines for the year. You have to pay your drivers for the year. You've got to pay your staff for the year. You get sponsorship money in. You can get fined. You get race winnings. You get championship winnings if you're lucky. Loads of stuff that goes into it all. This is all the stuff that you do not see unless you are a manager or part of one of these teams and really understand what actually goes on in the background of this Super League campaign. It's so in-depth. We're talking here, some of these managers are doing so much work and they're not even driving. It's such fun and competition. It really is amazing. If you're a driver, it's fantastic as well, because you get to work and you really can build that team up. We've seen certain drivers and teams who have been around. We've got a couple of teams that have been around 15 years in this league, 13 years. We've equally got some that are brand new. Looking at the teams list for 2017, which will now be up on your screen, we're talking through it. You've got Norwegian, who are last year's champions. They've returned. You've got Adonis, who pushed them right to the end. They've returned. You've got Vod Bull, who are previous championship challengers as well for the last 2 years. They've returned. And then you're talking people like Red Archer in there, previous championship winners. Talking Storm, who were new last year, but equally got a race win. What can they do this year? We talk about Fruit Woods, who have been there 13 years. Fantastic. They sort of started coming back up last year. Can they move on again this year? We talk through Kerno. They probably could have finished even higher last year, but they've got great, moving forwards. They've got a lot of podiums, pole positions. They could easily do it again this year. Hopefully they might get themselves that nice race win as well. You're then talking through some of the slightly lower teams last year. So we talked through at the very bottom. You had Hawkeye last year, which was a drop from their norm. They were challenging with a driver's title the year before and have been around for many years as well. You've got 2 brand new teams in the form of Mad Cape and Street Fighter, both of which are new from Formula Challenge and Super Cup, respectively there. That's the 2 ladder series below the Super League. Everyone works their way up, like you would working through GP2 up to F1. And then you've still got the long-standing as well of Green Stripes in there. You've got Walters, who were new last year. I'm probably forgetting somebody, but they are all there anyway. Of those teams, each team will go through one part of it, which was engine bidding that's just happened. So this is where we've got 4 teams that are engine suppliers for the year. So they manufacture the engines and they have their own brand of engine. So we've got Nordson, they manufacture the Martex engine. You've got Hawkeye that's new to it this year, and they are doing the Talos engine. You've got Vodbull Racing that do the Valiant engine, and you've got Woods Racing that do the Trinity engine. Those 4 engines supply all the teams. So obviously they run their own engine, but everyone has equal specs if you buy into that engine. So we're not talking last year's ones or the manufacturer has a better chance, anything like that. Everyone works together. So they bought into these engines. They were all different prices, the different experience, the different ones. You'll see that each team has different levels as well. So this year we've found that Martex, who didn't have any customers last year, they've got Walters as their customer this year. We find Trinity, which is Woods, they also have a customer this year in Green Stripes Racing. The new engine, which is Talos at Hawkeye, they've got Adonis on board there as well. To be honest, everyone else went with a Valiant engine, which was equally popular last year as well. So you look at that, and that will make a big difference throughout the season, and we'll find that out as this series goes on. At the moment, the only difference is everyone starts off equal. At the present, we haven't developed anything, so no engines and no cars have been developed. Everyone's got an absolute equal car, equal engine at this stage, which is an equal playing field. It resets every year development-wise. What isn't the same is your money carries over, and you carry over what we call research and development points, which you can use to build your car. Those we start earning in a couple of weeks when we start the pre-season tests. Like you would in real Formula 1, we have pre-season tests, and this earns development points to improve your car. Also costs you money, running tyres, running fuel, taking the cars to the events, transportation, all that sort of stuff costs, but it's worth doing because you do earn these development points and improve the car, which really helps you down the season as well. You may not see it straight away because development do take time to build. It's an amazing way of using R-Factor 2 to really develop and move everything forward. This year as well, we've also got slightly different things in that we've got tyre choices, which we can tell you before the races each time as well. Teams are going to have to pick their tyre choices nearly a week in advance. They also have to pick their engines a week in advance. Now, when I say engines, obviously we've said about which manufacturer they use, but what here I'm talking about, they can only use 6 engines throughout the season per car. So you have to pick which engine you want to put in, and because they wear down. So some cars most teams pick a fresh engine for somewhere like Monza, which is a very power-hungry track. But on certain tracks, you may get away with having a very limited, a worn engine, which limits the power, and also has a chance, if you wear it down enough, for it to break down. Obviously, teams don't want them, but that's just the way it works, and it's an interesting strategy game each race as well to see who's picked what, because it does make a big difference sometimes. You can be talking. We saw last year some tracks are fresh, and depending on the development of certain engines as well, we saw a fresh Valiant engine against, say, a worn Trinity engine was 50, 60 brake horsepower different for one race. That's an awful lot. And on particular tracks, that could make a huge difference. I'm not trying to make these particularly long. We can go so complex into all these things, but that's engine bidding. Yeah, there is other bids, and we'll go through that on the next time. But for now, check out the Super League. Look at last year. Watch some of the races. You will pick up on so much that's gone on. There's so much history, because last year carries on to this year as well. It's not all about 2017, what happened new. Some stuff happened last year. So this sort of series of events, and we've started it this early, so that we can really tell you what's going on over the course of the next couple of months before the cars even hit the track in anger. Fantastic to see. This will be in 2 weeks' time. So and that's on the eve of the first test, which I'm sure you may also be able to watch at least on live timings. In the meantime, we've also got Parker's pit stop next Monday, watching with his second interview. If you haven't caught his first one, have a look at the link. It's our launch show, fantastic thing as well, Mr. Tom Parker there. And then by the end of the month as well, before I'm back on, we will also see Anderson's Access at the end of the month on the 30th. And then the Super League show, which is going to be work with this, sort of telling you the results and talking to some drivers and panellists about what's going on in the Super League race. Will obviously start once we get the season nearer to the start of the season. I hope you've enjoyed learning a little bit about what's going on in the Super League. There's an awful lot more to come, and I hope to see you soon.